Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and I am back from the CoffeeCast Open Tournament. That was a long Friday night, let me tell you. That was a long Friday night extending into Saturday morning. But that doesn't matter because we had a hell of a blast. And I just wanted to thank real fast everybody who competed in that. That was a great, great time. And all those VODs now that I did live cast are back up onto YouTube now and on my site at coffeebreak.weebly.com. So you can go ahead and view those there. I will also be casting all the uncasted games, all the non-live games fairly shortly as well. Let's go ahead and get into this game, however. Here we are going to be having, in the lower right hand corner, Zhao, and I believe he's of the team Dignitas, as our red Terran player. And in the top left, we will be having EmpireKas, and I do believe that this is going to be Shatter Temple as our map. Now, I don't know why, but I have been on a spree of casting Terran vs. Terran lately, and I've been wanting to, I don't know, I've been wanting to cast Terran vs. Terran so bad. I've just been loving the mind games that surround it so much. So, that's what I decided to start out with tonight. And after this, for those of you in the audience, I will go ahead and be taking suggestions as to which matchup I should cast next. If nobody really has any input, then I will go ahead and just find a match that looks awesome on one of my replay sites, download that real fast during one of the breaks, and go ahead and cast that. Now, TvT, once again, I was saying that it's all about mind games. It is like a freaking chess game, except at warp speed. This is like watching blitz chess or bullet chess, if any of you guys have ever done that. It is insane. You have like 3 seconds to make your move in that. And that's kind of like what Terran vs. Terran is, except Terran vs. Terran is even faster than that. So it's just so extraordinary how it all goes. Now we do have a little bit later of a command center here for Zhao. Zhao is not quite as good as he used to be. I hate just kind of saying it like that, but I mean, that is really just what it comes down to. He's just not as good as he used to be. And I don't know if that's from a lack of playing, if he just, or I don't know, maybe if he had his one like big style at one point in time and then it just kind of, people figured out how to stop it. Either way, he just isn't the man he used to be. He isn't the man. However, he is still pretty good, and any pro player you cannot just blow off. And especially EmpireKas, who once again I have been casting quite a bit recently. I don't know where he's been or what, what's been going on with this guy, but suddenly he just exploded, and I have seen him everywhere. And you know what? I've seen him play like hell. He's good. You have to be very, very careful engaging Kos because he has extraordinarily powerful micro. And he tends to play a macro game, which we do see him gearing up to do right here, taking this early command center that was dropped on 16, and then adding up to 3 racks, taking 2 geysers at once. So probably we'll see a Tech Lab or 2 come down, and then a factory to get up to the starport. He does like doing very heavy biological play, and one thing that I really like about him is that he is not afraid to get 2 or even 3 bunkers in the early game. I mean, that's 300 minerals right there if you get 3 bunkers, and that can add up real fast, but he's not afraid to do it. And it's kind of like Kiwi Kaki style of just getting lots and lots of cannons, which is really good in its own right. I mean, it's a very defensive macro sort of play, and that's all right. We do see Zhao building quite the little force of Marines here. He did go for a 1-1-1. That is a barracks, factory, starport, or a Destiny Cloud Fist, as Husky Starcraft would call it. One unit did get into the base here. I think that was a scouting SCV, but he did not make it very far. However, I think he saw enough in the right that he did not see a command center here, and he did not see a command center well anywhere along here. And now it does look like we do have 1 medevac out. A Tech Lab now going down on top of that starport. Interesting choice on that right. And there is going to be a little bit of a push out of Marines and Hellions going towards EmpireKas' base. Now, Kos is going to have this 1 bunker up plenty of time. He does have quite a few Marines of his own out. And no matter where Zhao really attacks in this fight, I don't think he's going to be able to do too much damage. Because once again, there's this bunker on the high ground, and really he could actually probably use 1 more in case Zhao does decide to go for straight on attack. But if Zhao does this drop like it looks like he's going to do, there are Marines in position to hold that right away. Now these Hellions on the low ground will be able to shoot up. They are there to try to deflect these Marines on top. However, they are not going to do that whatsoever. Just too many Marines for Zhao to take care of. And now loading back up into that medevac, I would assume Zhao would just leave. He might want to try to come around and hit the back of this mineral line here. However, there is just not much there. And it does look like Zhao is very content with... Oh, no, there he goes, coming all the way around. It looks like he's making a little bit of a beeline, coming over for this little back area. And then, yes, indeed, he is going to be dropping in the back of EmpireKas' mineral line. He's also getting a Banshee up at the time. No cloak on the way yet. Double Marine production as well. So really just gearing up for a very, very aggressive style play. Just trying to hold EmpireKas back because Kos did get his expansion up quite a bit earlier. However, the forces for Kos much, much greater. Very, very superior forces for Kos. And Zhao is forced to back out. It looks like he is going to try to come up to the expansion, but Kos just playing so cool. I don't even think Kos has broken a sweat with this medevac running around. He even knows that it's around here, and I don't think he cares. I mean, honestly, nothing is going on with that. Zhao just now getting his expansion up, so Kos is very, very far ahead in the expansion, right? It looks like he does have his units positioned very, very nicely right in the middle of the base, so he is able to respond immediately to whatever threat might be coming in. We do have a Banshee coming in here into the natural expansion for Kos. However, there is a missile turret online already, and a nice group of Marines and Marauders right there. In the meantime, in the back, though, it doesn't look like this medevac is dropping its forces off. But however, there are Marines there to defend against that, and not even a single death was taken that day. Very, very good hold by Kos. We do see Zhao picking back up in that in the supply count right there, killing off a few SCVs here as well. Getting only 3 with that Banshee so far, maybe get a 4th or a 5th even. The forces were a little bit out of position for EmpireKas to be able to deal with that. However, it does look like Kos is going to get over there in time to clean that up, and that Banshee does indeed fall. Now it does look like this the starport has switched out with the barracks, so the barracks is now getting the tech lab and starting to get these bio upgrades, but Kos is just so far ahead. Don't let this supply count fool you right there. Kos has quite a bit of an economy lead. He does only have a 5 harvester lead. However, once again, you must remember that he's been mining off of his natural expansion for a good 2 or 3 minutes longer than Zhao has. So he has a pretty big macro lead in that right. Zhao lost a lot of units already to a lot of early drop play, a lot of early harassment play, and just lost a little bit of timing in that right. It does look like we do have 1-1 out on the field already for Kos 0-1. Only 0-1 out on the field. I don't know why this... Oh, just because of money. And I don't know. It's a pretty even game so far, I guess, because now the players really deciding to do too much, and now they've both just fallen back and begun to macro up. Kos does have that lead now. It's really beginning to pick up quite a bit of supply lead. Not too much, actually gaining a harvester lead. It does look like Zhao has fallen behind in his SCV production a little bit. Double production keeping up very, very diligently for EmpireKas, and it looks like Zhao has just been forgetting about that a little bit. Zhao does have tanks and his siege tech out on the field. It does look like our Terran player Kos, however, is not opting for that siege tank tech quite yet. He does have the factory down with the tech lob on it, but no upgrades for those quite yet, and it looks like we might be gearing up for yet another drop from Zhao, but he might want to pull that medevac back because he's going to need just about everything he has to defend against this huge bio ball from EmpireKas. These siege tanks on the high ground here really need to get sieged up, and there we go, just now getting sieged up. This one Marine was on the watchtower and was able to see that. Kos will not be able to push up this ramp with these 2 siege tanks here, and it looks like we do have 1 more siege tank probably trying to get to the high ground to defend up top. EmpireKas just coming up here, scouting out for a 3rd base. There's really nothing there for him to see, however. And once again, I really don't think it'd be wise for him to push up this main ramp here. I don't think he will. I think he should know. Yes, he did have a scan down to see those siege tanks there. So he does know that he cannot push that. He's going to have to fall back and get some sort of tech of his own. In the meantime, though, we do have the drop coming in from Zhao. Not able to do anything at all, however, because there were forces for Kos back to defend. 141 to 118, 124, rapidly jumping up there. 141 to 124 supply in favor of EmpireKas. Also getting his 3rd base down now. I really like this. Sees that he cannot do any damage up here, falls back a little bit, and decides just to defend and macro up even more than he already has. Finally getting weapons level 2 now as well. So it does look like we are indeed going to be seeing a lot of bio play once again out of EmpireKas. Definitely his favorite style of play. We did see him play a very similar type of play versus Braddock not too long ago, and it looks like Zhao might be caught a little bit off guard here. Kos might be caught a little bit off guard. Dust him up. He does have one tank without siege mode, however. And now Simeon trying to pick off some tanks. He does manage to get one tank. These tanks really could have sieged up though and had these Marines push up and try to repel any forces of Kos before they got the siege tanks. However, Zhao just decides to fall back to his third base instead and make a defense there, and really doesn't lose all that much. Just needs to make sure to get all of his Marines there healed up with some medevacs. Couple of medevacs and Marines and tanks pushing out across the field once again, and still no siege mode for EmpireKas. I almost wonder if this is a mistake out of Kos. That's a very, very bad mistake if it is. I don't know any other way to put it. Kos just now taking his third as well, so it does look like Zhao able to even up the macro right a little bit in that sense. And I'd really like to see a little bit of drop play coming out of Zhao. Just take a few Marines and a medevac, bring them off to the side and drop them over in the natural, because there is nothing there to defend. It does look like these units are trying to run up, get a little bit of sight line for those tanks, and they do indeed do that. However, Kos is quick to respond, falls back, and pretty much even lost both players, but actually stepping into the sight range of those tanks once again, and able once again to fall back with minimal losses. Now it does look like Zhao is quite a bit behind in the resources loss tab, about 100 resources behind right now. But that can all even up very, very quickly. Kos is in a kind of a bad position in the fact that he let Zhao get this very, very nice concave of tanks here. It's going to be extraordinarily difficult for him to do any sort of damage to push out against Zhao right now. Zhao's tank positioning is absolutely impeccable. And really the only thing he could have done better is maybe put these two buildings in front of his tanks just to make it a little bit harder for those Marines to charge up into the line. It does look like a few stim Marines are going to push Zhao's Marines off this watchtower. One Marine does run in, suiciding himself to see what is going on, and he saw a lot of Marines and a lot of tanks. Surprise! Terran versus Terran at its norm. It just looks like EmpireKas, though, does have control of the watchtower, which is a very, very powerful thing to do. At any time you want to be able to control the air and the watchtower, and now EmpireKas does have sight range over Zhao and is forcing Zhao to fall back in this engagement. Very nice play by EmpireKas. And now he actually bought himself a little bit of ground. It doesn't look like he quite wants to push up yet, though. It does look like we have a drop coming up in the main for Zhao. Able to take out a supply depot and a couple of SCVs before falling out. Nice little drop play by Zhao, and that's what I was talking about, what I want to see Kos doing. In the fact that it just makes your opponent pull their units back a little bit, it makes them think about what's going on a little bit, and it just kind of holds them up mentally until they can decide to make a move, either aggression or to fall back and defend. 2-2 upgrades on the field right now for EmpireKas, only 1-1 for Zhao. So a little bit behind in the upgrade count, however, a little bit ahead in the vehicle upgrade count. This game is very, very even so far. It does look like we were about to have another drop for Zhao, but Kos just ready for that. Managed to intercept that drop, immediately kill the medevac, kill every single Marine, only with minimal losses of his own. And now Zhao doing a little bit of backwards play. He's coming in sneakily through the back entrance to Zhao's third base. It looks like he's going to be able to do a little bit of damage, but in the meantime, Zhao is moving out across the middle of the map. There are no tanks here to defend for EmpireKas, so it looks like Zhao is going to have free access into EmpireKas' main. EmpireKas really needs to siege up immediately to just try to hold that army back as long as possible. Now elevatoring up into the main of Zhao, able to do a lot of damage there. There's nothing back here for Zhao to defend it. However, in the meantime, Zhao is moving into EmpireKas' natural base. There is a siege tank siege on the high ground, on the high ramp for EmpireKas, doing a lot of damage. None of these things yet are siege for Zhao, and it looks like his Marines took a ton of damage from stim and tank fire, but now EmpireKas is moving straight into the middle of Zhao's main base, taking out all sorts of infrastructure. In the meantime, though, Zhao is doing the same thing, moving in, taking out a lot of the infrastructure, taking out reactors and supply depots alike. Those are always going to want to be your first initial targets. A lot of SCVs going down now as well for Zhao, losing a lot in his main. It looks like EmpireKas is making a little bit more headway than Zhao is making in Kos' main. Some Marines did manage to move down the ramp, are now taking out a command center or two down here on the low ground, and in the meantime cleaning up house in the main base. A few units actually left, could probably use to move those Marines back into Zhao's main. However, Zhao now taking a little bit of lead by taking out every single last building for EmpireKas that was in his main. And really, this is definitely swinging into Zhao's favor, as Zhao still has everything left in his main base, just lost a few add-ons and some SCVs EmpireKas really needs to run back up into the main of Zhao and try to do a little bit more damage. Zhao has a lot of units over at Kas's main. However, those are very oversim units. They've taken a lot of damage so far, but there are siege tanks in here as well, and those will be able to clean up any sort of marine forces that EmpireKas has saved up in his main. And indeed, all the marines do die right there. EmpireKas has moved back up into the main of Zhao now, but I think it's too late because he's already sustained so much damage back home. Zhao still has one fully mining operational base and is able to secure that with a couple of siege tanks on the high ground as well as some marines to defend that there. It does look like it was in danger of losing itself to some tank fire there. Now a couple of Vikings trying to take that command center out as well. And now EmpireKas, knowing that his opponent doesn't have any sort of anti-air except this one single Viking, just needs to be able to take out this Viking, and he can float his barrack to the middle of the map, to the corner of the map, and be able to call it a draw from there. Until then, though, this Viking is going to continue to shoot away at this barracks, now trying to lift off to be able to catch these barracks off guard. And indeed is going to be able to intercept it perhaps? No, it might go, oh my god, I lost my words. That dropship did go down to a missile turret right there. Zhao is now taking quite the lead. There is a 93 to 57 supply gap in favor of Zhao, and it does look like there was a little bit of a pause there. EmpireKas maybe wanted to think of what the hell he is going to do from here on out. Trying to establish a base of his own, does have a small base down here at about the 7 or 8 o'clock position right there. Dropping down a couple of supply TvT posts. He actually is supply block right now. Planetary Fortress, definitely the way to go just to make sure drops cannot happen. However, siege tanks still very, very effective against that. And now pulling all of his siege tanks back to defend that base. I do not know. There is one lone command center left on the field for dignitasSjow. So able to stay ahead in that right. This Viking down to 5 health and wants to try to make sure not to lose that, as that is his only flying unit left in this game, and as I say that, it is gone, as it did fall to 2 Vikings of EmpireKas. Once again, 94 to 64 supply in favor of Zhao. However, Zhao is going to have quite a nasty time trying to penetrate up this ramp, as there are 4 siege tanks there to defend, and quite a bit of infrastructure still actually left for EmpireKas, now rebuilding himself in a new main down here in the lower left-hand position. Zhao able to keep his original main, however, a couple of reactor barracks, 3 reactor barracks and a 4th barracks with the tech lab still left on the field for him. So he will be able to remacro his army there. A little bit better of a bank on the field for EmpireKas. And actually, in a moment like this, a bank is not a bad thing at all. Creating 3 command centers, 4 command centers at once, I don't really know the reasoning perhaps for that. I think just pumping out a lot of units would be better, as he is not capable of expanding right now, unless he is thinking about maybe dropping mules onto his opponent's siege tanks. And what that does, it just makes siege tanks shoot at themselves, and while siege tanks won't target themselves, they will target units around them and will cause a lot of splash damage. It doesn't look like Zhao is going to be sieging up on the low ground here with medevac support to see the high ground. These Vikings probably will not be able to get in range of this medevac, and now dropping off a couple of marines on the high ground as well, able to take out 1 tech lab on this factory, so that factory will no longer be able to secure siege tanks. In fact, that factory is forced to lift off because of those tanks there. And now Kas in kind of a bad position, and able to take out the 2 marines that were spotting on the high ground. Would actually be able to run up and take out these tanks right now, but not going to miss a little bit of an opportunity to take a couple free tank kills. But now Zhao coming around the side trying to siege up along the edge. However, there are 2 siege tanks here shooting away at the marines on the low ground, and now all the tanks on the near the planetary fortress have fallen. So this planetary fortress is completely defensive versus these siege tanks, and the Vikings may fall as well to these marines. However, no, the Viking will stay alive for the moment. The refinery is going to go down though, and I believe that might be the last gas income for EmpireKas. The game is looking very, very bad for EmpireKas at this moment in time. Trying to get a couple of siege tanks on the high ground next to that planetary fortress to begin wailing away at the Zhao's tanks on the low ground. Zhao looks to be in a fairly good position in this game though. Planetary fortress may in fact go down. I don't know if the master ground is going to quite be enough. It's just barely hanging on. It looks like it will be able to survive just long enough. The siege tank is just pushing up ever so slightly. The scan is down on the ground though. One siege tank does fall, trying to get a medevac of units over the siege tank. It's going to start dropping maybe on top of the siege tanks. Indeed he will. Just going to be distracting all the marines on the low ground in that right. It looks like EmpireKas actually making quite a good move there, cleaning up all the tanks on the low ground. There are 3 more tanks over here on the right side at the bottom of the ramp, however, to try to dish out a little bit of extra damage. Kas still sitting in kind of a bad position, able to make another tank or 2, but not all that many. There is 1 marine left for Zhao on the low ground there, so might just want to take that out just on general principle, and it looks like indeed he will get that, as he does have high ground advantage. If Kas could just pump out a Viking or 2, he would be in a very, very good position. I don't think either players have Vikings. No, they do not. There are 9 tanks on the field for Zhao, however, and that is a very, very big advantage to only the 3 of EmpireKas at this point in time. Finally being able to re-ramp up his tank production, and it looks like he's going for a drop over to his opponent's base. I really think that he should actually, repair this medevac just a little bit just to be safe. We do have another orbital command coming down for Zhao now over at this 3rd base. I suppose that is now his natural expansion. In the meantime, Zhao trying to get a better positioning on the remaining base for EmpireKas. It doesn't look like he's going to be coming up the edge here and sieging up. Just able to take out a few buildings along the edge here. One Viking is now on the field for EmpireKas, so he will be able to snipe that medevac. Yes, indeed, the medevac does go down. So there's one less air unit that Zhao has under his command, but now losing that Viking. That was a little bit of a micro error from EmpireKas. However, able to take out a few tanks at this expansion. I believe there were 2 tanks on the low ground, maybe just 1. Able to take that 1 tank out and do a little bit of damage to these SUVs here at the only remaining mining base for Zhao. Just have another one secured up here. However, there is a Marine firing away at this command center for Zhao. And now, both players really just trading blows. Could actually use to lift this building off and float it away a little bit. I don't know why he's just letting Zhao completely take out these buildings. I don't really think it's worth making that 1 Marine. And still going to lose his barracks as he has not yet tried to lift that up. Just now lifting it off after it's finally burning. So once again, a little bit of a micro arrow from EmpireKas. But in the meantime, he is managing to come back. There's now 88 to 83 supply. This command center will probably not fall, as there is a mule here that can repair this at any given point in time. And also there are a few Marines coming up to kill the Marine for EmpireKas. EmpireKas does have a small advantage in the right that he does have better upgrades. His Marines are 2-2 compared to Zhao's 1-1. However, Zhao's siege tanks are slightly upgraded, which does give him a right and an advantage. It is such an even match at this point. However, EmpireKas finally able to start coming back in the macro lead, able to have a fully mining base right down here once again at the 7 o'clock position, which is a huge help for him because he's currently mining off of 2 bases. To EmpireKas, to Zhao's is now about 1 full base, because this is about being half mined. And this is about being half mined. The income shows it to be relatively even, though, as Zhao did drop a lot of mules over at that base. And now EmpireKas feeling secure enough to be moving out. This is going to be a very, very risky maneuver from EmpireKas, but I do agree with it because no blood, no guts, no glory. These siege tanks are not sieged up yet for Zhao. He really needs to get the siege up immediately. The siege up did go to EmpireKas first, so he will get the first volley off. Able to get 3 tanks firing into Zhao's tank line first. And actually, the Vikings, with the air superiority, are able to allow EmpireKas to see Zhao's tank and do a lot of damage to those before Zhao could actually respond. And no scan did go down for Zhao, so he did lose a lot of tanks in that fire there. Once again, does go down, only in range of 1 siege tank, however, and these siege tanks for KAS are in range of this command center and a few of the tanks for Zhao. So now EmpireKas looking to be in quite a good position, as the tank numbers have really jumped back up into KAS' favor, 7 tanks to 5 tanks, and that is really the count you want to look at. That in the Viking count, which we see here, we have 2 for EmpireKas and none for Zhao. And once again, the air superiority is so important because tanks cannot see as far as they can shoot, so you need to maintain the air superiority or watchtower control, which Zhao has neither of, to be able to shoot at the opponent's tanks. Now, I'm very, very surprised to see that both these players have come back quite a bit in this game, back up over 100 supply for each player after being down to about 60 supply for quite a while there. And once again, this is that little chess game I was talking about earlier on, how it's just a little bit of tank positioning, moving tanks up 2 or 3 matrix squares, which are about that big, which matrix squares are just what dictates, tanks are 2 matrix squares large, that's their unit size. Marines are 1 matrix square. So for those of you who didn't know, there you have it. But just moving units up by 1 or 2 matrix square per movement, just slowly tank hopping up, I find it exhilarating in a ride. We do have a scan going down to see where the army for Zhao is, and now a scan going down for EmpireKas once again, trying to pick up a few Marines. However, he is not going to get that, stemming up though widely, and in a very, very good position. It's going to be able to take out a few buildings over here for Zhao. 1 command center does fall, and Zhao really can't push up to try to defend the space, as there are too many tanks right here for EmpireKas. And there's the GG from Zhao, just knowing that he's not going to be able to defend this 1 last remaining base. And wow, look at that, leaving the game with 1 health left on that command center. But Zhao just not able to secure any more expansions, running out rapidly in the 2 bases that I guess only 1 base that he had at this point. And really what really swung that game into KAS' favor was just a couple of slightly poorly engaged battles by Zhao. I liked the concept of trying to siege up, over here to be able to take out a few tanks, but he forgot to get sight onto the high ground, so KAS got a few extra volleys in onto Zhao's tanks. I liked the tank play over here to take out a few buildings. However, in the end, Zhao just gave Kas way too much time to remacro his tank army, and in the end, once again, the numbers always show it, 9 tanks to 6 tanks. You cannot be that far behind in the tank count, and Zhao really just blew a 30 or 40 supply lead in that game. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me here on the CoffeeCast. I am going to go ahead and take a quick break here. If you have a matchup you would like to see me cast, please go ahead and type that in the chat and I will get that going. Otherwise, I will go ahead and just pick a game. And until then, this is Coffee Break, signing out.